Okay, hello everybody. I have something a little bit different for you today. Uh, I watched this Theater of Pain 15 yesterday and did a video more like the old ones in which I tried to talk about these are the things I think I need to improve on, this is what I'm going wrong, and I found those things, but the end result of the video was very, very dull. It was not a good video. But what I also thought about while doing it was that this is a wonderful video for something I haven't done before, which is these are the things that some of the things that you're probably doing that are making your group harder than it has to be and making your runs less smooth than they could be and preventing you from going to higher keys. So this group ended up timing this Theater of Pain 15. We did it. It was finished. And I'm sure that a lot of them walk away and go, that was really good. We did that. But if we look more closely, we can see a lot of really small mistakes. So I am not at all saying that I made no mistakes in this run. I made a number of them, and I am working on doing those better, but there's a lot of mistakes. So let's see how it goes. So one consistency that's going to come up is you're going to notice AoE pulls happening or AoE damage pulls happening where the boomkin is not standing in the AoE healing. If this happens, I'm not going to overstate how much healing rain does, but chain heal needs people to be close. And healing rain doesn't hurt, that's for sure. That's a nice buffer. If I have to separately heal a ranged person all the time, that's where healers start to get taxed. It's where I have fewer global cooldowns to DPS. If I can't DPS, the instance takes longer. We have to do more hard stuff. You can see it's standing well away from the healing rain here. There's no reason to not take a few steps forward. There's no fancy mechanics where we can't be close by this week. So, this is number one. If you are a ranged DPS, most healers have a thing that goes on the ground, or heal range abilities. I think Shaman have the most, but most healers have something that really you should be standing in. Now this fight goes fairly smoothly. The one thing that made this fight harder than it had to be was, once again, the druid is... Okay, so let me pause this for a second. Okay, so what we can see here is that I am standing in the healing rain. The melee's in the healing rain. It's going to move around as the fight goes on, but that's fine. The boomkin is well off on the side where he doesn't need to be. The downside of this is that there's that fourth person that comes into the fight, the rogue, that will stun somebody for 10 seconds and do lethal damage. If they're close by, you're more likely to get seen, and there are more ways for us to help you. With that druid off on the side the whole time, you're going to see me having to rotate my camera to keep him in this view, because it basically comes down to capacitor totem as ways to save the druid from the rogue. So, there, I've got him in my screen down there. He's bouncing around. I'm going to rotate around and get a view on him again. Alright, there we go. I'm just trying to keep him in my view, but this is taking my brain cells, right? That I have to babysit this boomkin who's well off on the side. I get separated from the group, so I run around. I'm trying to get back into things. Just stand close to literally anybody. It's just a quality of life thing. If you get caught by the rogue and you're way off over there, there's very little anybody can do. The rest of this fight's pretty dull, so I'm going to book ahead here. Okay, so this pull on a fortified week and a bursting week is probably one of the hardest ones in the dungeon. This was one of the few parts that we discussed before the dungeon started. Tank said he'd take it easy. Tank did not take it easy. In fact, Tank went well halfway through, which made me wonder if Tank was going all the way, or if I would have to save him. So I run out to the front. Poor communication. With the communication, if you've watched the videos before, you know that I'm really big on preparation and positioning. Without the communication here, I don't get to do either one of them, and I make a mistake. Let's watch how this pull goes. So tank's well off to the side. I bust out to try to heal him. He pops Metamorphosis, which is fine, but he popped it well there at the very end. And I take lethal damage and start pod tending, which means that I'm falling behind. I'm just sitting here for 10 seconds, falling behind. So I come out, pop Ascendance, try to get caught up. I make some mistakes. It's fine. Spirit Link goes down. Okay, now let's take stock here. Anti-Magic Zone is done. Anti-Magic Shell is done. Bark Skin is done. Metamorphosis is done. Cheat Death is done. Ascendance is done. Spirit Link Totem is done. Healing Tide Totem will come back, but it's not that big a thing anyway. And I've used my Inscrutable Quantum Device for a clutch heal. The group is roughly at half health, and the Demon Hunter is gone. He is pulling the rest of this room. I don't even have Spirit Walker's Grace. I can't even heal the guy on the move anymore. Right? So I have no tools. I have no buttons to push anymore. So let's watch what happens. And by the way, neither does anybody else. Okay, there goes the Boomkin, dead. Now, to be clear, there is stuff I could have done here. As I'm watching this now, I do see some buttons I could have pressed that I did not. They're pretty small buttons, but they are still buttons. But I don't press them. Just trying to catch up, just trying to get going. Nothing, die. So now I've burned to Ankh as well. I don't know what that calm your fingers macro is, but there you go. Clearly it's attached to one of that person's skills. Alright, so here we are. A giant AoE pull in this instance, and once again, Boomkin is not standing in the AoE healing. There is no reason not to in this case. Once again, there's no cleave, there's no nothing, there's no quaking, there's nothing is happening. Get in there. Now, communication, positioning, and preparation. We're going a different way than most of us have gone. The Demon Hunter is calling out for CCs, but he's calling them on the Belchers, which don't exist on these pulls. And he's not clarifying. When we asked to clarify what he wanted CC'd, he made a Mexican joke, which was racist. So, based on, again, we don't know what's happening. I don't have any buttons, right? I'm still out of all the buttons from the ghosty pull. I got nothing. Again, there's stuff I could have done. When I watched this for myself, I found some things I could have done here. But the point is that I have no way to recover from these things anymore. I don't have the big make a difference buttons. I don't even have Cloudburst. There wasn't even a Cloudburst charge available, which is rare. But we do this. So there's the Boomkin not standing in the anti-magic zone, which is a mistake. Can stand in the good stuff. So once again, tank wants some CC on this pull. Isn't really clear about what's happening. Cannot prepare, cannot find a good position if I'm not entirely sure what's happening. Besides, with Pride, we should melt these two little guys anyway. They're easier to just kick and kill. So, not being sure where we're going to go, I drop my Healing Rain where I think we're going to stand. It is not where we end up standing, but again, there's no reason everybody can't stand in it. And we see that Boomkin out of it, just in time for the big AoE. cooldowns are starting to come back, which is very good. Once again, Druid there now. Now he moved into it, but I think primarily to DPS, not because he was moving into it. Like, that pull is a very, very spicy pull. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do some CC on it, but people need to understand what's happening. I think this pull goes mostly fine. But what we do get in the end here is another case of the tank running a route that I think nobody's really familiar with. He didn't post it, he just said Lich Wing. And nobody really knows what he's planning. So, we're going to finish this, and I want you to watch what the group does. Me and the Boomkin and I believe the Death Knight start heading for that portal. Yep, and in the meantime, Guy jumps right. Fine, you want to take the group out? Fine. Gotta communicate. So we got more of these Shackled Souls, we got this guy with the volley, all these debuffs. Okay, we're not prepared for it. I didn't top everybody up in the last group, because the portals will heal you up, right? That's why I didn't bother to top everybody up, so we're starting another pull at half health. And these are not free pulls. So now I don't know what's happening. I think he's going to go to the other side, so I'm healing people up, and then I see that he goes to the portal. So, yeah, now I'm behind on the next pull, which is quite hard. And these are all small things, right? Like, this isn't a huge thing. This isn't a big, giant gripe. But these are all small things that make big differences when they're all added together. Like this one, you want to kick the Necrotic Bolt Volley. You want to kick the Bone Spear. And, you know, there's been no discussion about who's kicking what or why or what's happening. Nobody's marking, nobody's doing anything. So by this point, I've noticed that most people aren't kicking the Necrotic Bolt Volley, so that's what I'm going for, but... So we do another Pride. I think something happens here. I would fast forward it, but I think something happens on this pull. Oh, right. The Death Knight chose this exact moment to un-MC the Bone Magus, which... Come on, man. Do it at the beginning when the Pride's doing no damage. Right? To do that at the end when the Pride's damage is all fully stacked. At least he let us know. Okay, this boss, if you're not aware, this is the hardest boss of the instance, I would say. It's kind of it's the hidden hardest boss of the instance. It's just an immense amount of output. So, there's a mistake here I want to highlight. Notice that the Boomy is standing in the hands. Don't do that. Stand right behind them. Take less damage. I also strongly recommend that you save your personal cooldowns for this debuff. I want to actually watch, I didn't catch before, but this Boomkin uses Bark Skin at some point here, and I want to see why. So he's once again standing in the hands, which is a mistake. Stand just behind them. Okay, so we used bark skin there, right? Just he was taking a lot of damage, but look what's about to happen. He's about to get debuffed and draw soul at the same time and stand in the hands, and he doesn't have the only cooldown that he has. So I throw Spirit Link over there, but I'm not quite fast enough. Save your personal cooldown on this fight for when you have that debuff. That really should be about the only reason that you use it on that fight. You will get the debuff at some point, so you will get a chance to use it. But otherwise, really recommend against. Because one thing that healers do, if you look, I have to dispel one debuff each time. So I try to move it around. I try to, okay, I know that person's used their cooldown, I'm going to put it over here now. I know that person's used their cooldown, I'm going to put it over there. That your healer might not be using Omni CD, they might not see the cooldowns, and in fact, I did not see that the druid popped the bar skin already, or when they popped it. So when I saw this next debuff go up, I was like, okay, druid's good to go. And then I was like, oh no, the druid had the thing. And then so I'm spamming heals on the guy, but there's nothing I can do. So, assume your healer, if they're good, is going to manage who hasn't used their personal defensives yet as best they can, and use your personal defensives on the debuff, and don't stand in the hands. Okay, where do we go next? Construct, right. Okay, so we're gonna fight all these guys, and these guys, you group up, because they're gonna jump at people. So if you don't group up, they jump all over the place. So what we have is, God, I'm ragging on this boomkin, but look at him way down there. Now he can't get up there, which is fine, but... Let's skip forward a little bit more. This pull, and this pull was fine. This pull. So once again, so we've got these guys jumping everywhere that we don't need to have. We can cleave them down, and it's a lot easier if they're not doing that. So yes, if you're in the pull, you have to deal with ground effects. But it's better for everybody. Okay. Skipping forward again. Yeah, we'll just watch this. These putrid butchers are tank killers, which comes up later. That healing rain, by the way, was to force people to walk through it after the burst in. Okay, so we're pulling this guy. These guys do a great deal of AoE damage. So creating a base as best as possible is a good idea, even though, yes, they're doing ground effects and they're doing that and everything else. Why the tank moves the guy there? Like let's go back here for a second. Okay. Okay, so we put down the healing rain. There it is. Put down the cloud burst. He's gonna do his eruption. Okay, now the tank starts to move him backwards. Why? Preparing for ground burst? Sure, but we don't know where the ground bursts are yet. Okay, now we do. It's right there. It's right where the tank was moving to. What if we just stayed here? All in the heal. But look at how far the tank goes. Doesn't just get himself out of the thing, gets himself out, moves it well down, and he's doing it again. Look at how far over there he is now. So, and then we get over, and I start to set up, and the tank moves him away again. You have to move those mobs. But you can move them a lot less, and should know where you're going before you just start moving. 2 of the 3 times the tank moved him, there was no reason to move him. So we're gonna pop a pride in the middle of this pull. Basically the first one of these guys that goes down. So what we should be doing is even killing them, right? But we have a Putrid Butcher, which is a tank killer, at 75%, and we have a Blighted Sludge Spewer about to die. So prides do no tank damage, but now we have tank damage and a pride. And we're moving out of the healing rain again. Just making it harder for no reason, right? All we had to do was DPS that big Putrid Butcher evenly. But they didn't. And so now, look at that, look at that, look at that. Like, I don't want to say that 1 stack of bursting is a big deal. But let's go back for a second. Okay, I'm gonna pause it when that butcher dies. Casting the wrong spells here, but that's some of the mistakes I was making. Okay, so here we go. Boom. The pride is at 16 stacks, so almost doing max damage, and now we get bursting. Right, so just more damage, right? No wonder. No wonder. Yeah, the bursting isn't that much damage, but in combination with everything else, and then the druid got hit by the cross that he was standing right next to. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. Here we go. So the warrior gets the cross. Move out of the way. The druid is right there. He's off the screen now, but did you see how close he was? Gotta see that. Boom. Gone. And it hit the tank too. Now I know the camera angle here sucks. But the tank got hit again. Right, just making it harder. Unnecessarily harder. Okay, so here we go again. Now I know we have a pride and everything's mostly fine. But not even 1 second to top the group up before a big AoE damage pull when everybody was at 20% health. And yeah, again, with the pride, people are probably not going to die, but taking the 2 seconds is not a bad idea. You don't even have to ask the healer, right? If you look at the bars and see that everything's low, just like take a second. You've got time. More jumpy guys, more people not being grouped up. And then more people not standing in the heal. For context, my healing rain erases a stack and a half about of bursting. Right? You negate that mechanic if you stand in the healing rain most of the time. That was lucky. Okay, I think mostly nothing new happens here, but we can once again see people not standing in the heals. Let's come forward a little bit to this boss. Okay, so here we go. They want a lust as soon as it's available. I think that's a bit foolish, but I'm just gonna do it. So we're all avoiding the chains and everything else. here's where things get interesting and why I wanted to watch this fight. Lust there also at the end, like, again, I know why they wanted to use it, but everybody's already burned all their cooldowns, so I think that Lust is not of giant use. Okay, okay, okay. So, look at this. We've got two people who got hit by the chains. Both of those people have cooldowns available. Icebound Fortitude will work, and I forget what this one is called, but I'm pretty sure this one will work. Let's see what happens. Oh, there goes the DK. He used the wrong one. I was able to save the warrior, but not the DK. This anti-magic shell doesn't help with that. And the DK did eventually pop his, or the warrior did pop his, but he was late. This is good. If you make a mistake, cover for it, use your stuff. There's nothing else on this fight to use it for, so you might as well use it on that. But also the warrior was quite late. I had healed the warrior before he popped that cooldown. There you go. They both get hit. There, the warrior used it now. Full health. Right. DK never used this. Okay, more of the same in the next area. I think that. Right. That happens. Okay, so we have a hard time on this pull because honestly, it's not a free pull, and the tank immediately hits this mini boss. 2 stacks of bursting. There we go. So again, the group's not full. The group doesn't need to be full. Okay, the group doesn't need to be full. But I also have no mana. If we go back, there, I will pause quick better this time. Boom. Okay. 2 stacks of bursting on everybody. Tank is low. He's jumped into the guy already. I have no mana. And we're about to all have 20% less health. Boomkin notices. Is Boomkin that notices, or is it? No, it's that warrior that notices. I pot, which is fine. Again, that's what pots are for. But just setting... This tank is consistently setting me up to be healing from behind. The Boomkin is consistently not helping me heal him, or them. Nobody knows what's happening here. Why are we going in the door? I don't know. Nobody knows. Camp position. Right, oh, this is exciting. These things are preventable and are keeping things from being smooth as they can be. You know, this is worth noting. I have neither trinket available. I don't have Earth Elemental available. I don't have my Knife ability available. No Healing Tide, no Mana Tide, no Ascendance, and no Spirit Link. No Soul Shape. I've used everything I have. Which, that's what they're for. But if I'm using them to save people from mistakes like the ones that are getting made, I'm not using them to heal. Oh, this is bad. I'm not using them to heal mechanics that may require them. I would fast forward through prides, but I think every pride in here was a bit spicy. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different run, because that actually was quite good. Again, Boomkin's not standing in the stuff they should stand in, but... That's me trying to be in good spirits. Okay, go on to this next pull, because this next pull is big. So they're talking while fighting about what we're going to do about this next pull. And we're going to MC the captain, which is not a bad way to deal with this pull. It's a lot of damage. Nice. DK used Icebound Fortitude. It's a good time for it. Warrior used theirs. Those are really good moves. I kept expecting the DK died there. The mob was really focused on him, and I knew the demon hunter would be taunting. It wasn't working. I don't really super know why. It's neither here nor there. Okay, let's skip ahead to the boss. Okay. At some point in this boss fight, I fat-fingered and hit my lust button, so we didn't have it on the next boss, but that's okay. So for some reason on this fight, the banners are going down very, very, very slowly. I'm interested to see if I can figure out why. I see why the Demon Hunter didn't swap targets. I want to see if that happens next time, because then I get taken out. By the way, I learned that Pod Tender doesn't... Cool. Okay, I want to see if that happens again. Okay, so here we go. So the Demon Hunter drags him over. Can't tell on that angle. In the first angle, the Demon Hunter definitely was ignoring the banner, which he should not do. But that would explain why. Okay. Okay. Demon Hunter moves him over. Okay, is punching banner. Where is Druid? Over here. Doing who knows what. God, look how long that took. It's fortified week 2. And the group clearly has the DPS for it. I don't know why it wasn't happening. Alright, let's bump up to the last boss. Behold my power and despair. So I hope this has helped with some things that you can do. The importance of your personal cooldowns, the importance of communication, the importance of clear communication. Let's say the watching where you're standing, not just avoiding the bad things, but knowing to stand in the good things. These are all really key, and I think interestingly, the mistakes were happening on trash more than anything, and I don't want to make too many sweeping generalizations, but I will make one. I think people don't take trash seriously. And especially on a fortified week, trash is hard. Like, it still has to be done. And doing these little things can turn your run into one that is successful but feels hard, to one that is successful and smooth, which I would say is way more fun and enjoyable, but is also going to give you the ability to hit higher keys. Because those little tiny optimizations really make big differences in terms of how high keys you can go. The difference between a 13 and a 16 is, sure, it's output, but it's optimizations. It's really understanding what's happening. And there you go. So yeah, as you can see, we finished it. Success, but yeah. Anyway, I hope this helped. As always, if you have any questions, if you think I said something unfair, if you saw something that I didn't say outside of my own personal mistakes, which I made many of in that run, I just already went over them off camera, let me know. And otherwise, keep going at it.